Namaste Bitya, Amisha Khushrao Bitya. A very good morning to you all. Myself, JV and Dr. Ravi Jain, Assistant Professor, Department of Practice of Medicine and Faculty of Homeopathic Science at Jyoti Vidyapeeth Women's University, Jaipur. In today's lecture, we will be continuing with the previous lectures of the diseases of genitourinary system. In the last lecture, we had discussed about benign prostatic hyperplasia. In today's lecture, we are going to start with cancer of the prostate and renal adenocarcinoma. Both of the topics are very important, and we get a lot of cases with benign prostatic hyperplasia, and there is a great chance for development of benign for the cancer prostate and renal adenocarcinoma in case of such patients. So let's start with this particular topic. Carcinoma prostate. Prostate cancer, it is very common in the northern Europe and the USA. So carcinoma prostate is a very common disease that is common among the northern Europe and the United States of America, and it is increasing in frequency. You are going to observe a lot of patients who are suffering from carcinoma prostate. It rarely occurs before the age of 50 years, and it has a mean age of presentation at around 70 years of age. So prostate cancer, it is increasing in the frequency, and it rarely occurs before 50 years of age, and it has a mean age of presentation at around 70 years. Prostate cancer arises within the peripheral zone of the prostate. So it arises in the peripheral zone of the prostate, and there can be a metastatic spread to the pelvic lymph node, and it occurs early. There is bone metastasis, that is mainly the lumbar spine and the pelvis are common. So prostate cancer, it is common in the northern Europe and the USA, and it is increasing in frequency. The prostate cancer rarely occurs before the age of 50 years, and it has a mean age of presentation at around 70 years of age. The prostate cancer arises within the peripheral zone of the prostate, and if it metastasizes, then it can metastasize to the pelvic lymph node. That occurs very early, and there can be bony metastasis that mainly occurs at the lumbar spine and pelvis. That is common. Next, we have prostatic specific antigen. Whenever a patient of a BPH is coming to you, that is benign prostatic hyperplasia, we always ask the patient to go for PSA, that is prostate specific antigen. Prostate specific antigen is a good tumor marker. So whenever we are talking about the prostatic specific antigen, it is a good tumor marker, and 40% of the patients with serum PSA greater than 4 nanogram per deciliter per milliliter will have prostate cancer on the biopsy. So prostate specific antigen, it is a good tumor marker, and 40% of the patient with serum PSA greater than 4 nanogram per milliliter will have prostate cancer on the biopsy. The clinical features. The clinical features includes the lower urinary tract symptoms that are indistinguishable from the BPH. So the symptoms are similar to that of benign prostatic hyperplasia, and there are lower urinary tract symptoms. The symptoms are due to metastasis. If there is any kind of metastasis, then there will be symptoms. And the symptoms due to metastasis includes, there will be back pain, weight loss. So any cancer will present with unexplainable weight loss. So there will be weight loss, back pain, there will be anemia, and obstruction of the ureters. So lower urinary tract symptoms are indistinguishable from the BPH, and the sign and symptom due to metastasis includes the back pain, lower weight loss, anemia, and obstruction of the ureters. There are various investigations that could be done in this particular case. So whenever a case of BPH or benign prostatic hyperplasia is coming to us, we can perform the following investigation. The investigation includes the rectal examination of the prostate, that is digital rectal examination, that we were doing in case of BPH as well. So rectal examination of the prostate is felt as nodular and stony hard. So the prostate, you will feel it as nodular and stony hard. The ultrasound scan can be done. A plain X-ray of the pelvis and lumbar spine can be done, and the diagnosis is confirmed by needle biopsy. So the diagnosis of the prostate cancer is done by the needle biopsy. By histological examination of the tissue, it is removed by endoscopic resection when needed to relieve outflow obstruction. So in the investigation, we can go for a rectal examination of the prostate that will be felt nodular and stony hard. Ultrasound scan can be done. A plain X-ray of the pelvis and lumbar spine is done, and diagnosis is confirmed by the needle biopsy. So by the histological examination of the tissue, it is removed by the endoplasmic dissection when needed to relieve the outflow obstruction. So in case of outflow obstruction, a histological examination of the tissue that is removed by the endoscopic dissection. We have already studied in BPH the transurethral incision of prostate and transurethral resection of prostate. There were two methods. So after the resection of the prostate, it can be seen under the histopathological examination. Now, how to manage a case of prostate carcinoma? Whenever a patient of prostatic carcinoma is coming to us, how can we manage such cases? So management of the cases is done by radical prostatectomy. So the prostate can be removed, or radical radiotherapy in confined tumors. So the patient can be asked to perform radial prostatectomy, in which the complete prostate is removed, or the radical radiotherapy in the confined tumors. By reducing the circulating testosterone level, either by castration or by medication, results in 70% initial response rate. So if we are reducing the circulating testosterone level, or either by castration or by medication, it results in 70% of the initial response rate. Androgen receptor antagonists such as protrienone acetate, it prevents the tumor of the cell growth. So the androgen receptor antagonists such as cryoprotein acetate prevent the tumor cell growth, and radiotherapy is useful for localized bone pain. So in case of localized bone pains, radiotherapy is important. Chemotherapy can also be done with 5-fluorouracil and cyclophosphamide and nitrogen mustard. So in the management part, we can go for radical prostatectomy or radical radiotherapy. Reduction of the testosterone level results in 70% of the initial response. Androgen receptor antagonists they prevent the tumor growth. Radiotherapy is useful for localized bone pain. Chemotherapy with 5-fluorouracil and cyclophosphamide or nitrogen mustard is done. Now, what is the prognosis of prostatic carcinoma? The life expectancy, because we already know that prostate cancer is seen in the patient above the age of 70 years. So the life expectancy of the patient with an initial finding of focal carcinoma of the prostate is normal, because after 70 years, the patient usually live for his normal life. The tumors that are localized to the prostate, 10-year survival rate is 60 to 75%. So if the prostate is localized, the tumor is localized to the prostate, then 10-year survival rate is 60 to 75%. That is very good. And if the metastasis is present, then 10-year survival rate falls to 10%. So if the tumor is localized, the survival rate is very good. But if there is metastasis, then the survival rate falls drastically to around 10%. So this was all about benign prostatic carcinoma. Now we will start with renal adenocarcinoma. All right, renal adenocarcinoma. It is the most common malignant tumor of the kidney. So renal adenocarcinoma, it is the one of the most common malignant tumor of the kidney, and male to female ratio is 2:1. So it is more common among the males as compared to females. Age incidence occurs in 65 to 75 years of age. So renal adenocarcinoma is the most common malignant tumor of the kidney, with male to female ratio 2:1. The age incidence is 65 to 75 years, and the tumors arises from the renal tubules. The tumor arises from the renal tubules and there is golden yellow or a red appearance due to the hemorrhage and necrosis. So the tumor that arises from the renal tubules and there is golden yellow or red appearance due to the hemorrhage and necrosis. So there is hemorrhage, there is necrosis, due to which there is golden yellow and red appearance of the tumor. There is direct invasion of the peripheral tissues is common. So there is direct invasion of the perinephric tissues and it is very common. There is lymphatic spread that occurs to the para-aortic nodes. So the tumor arises from the renal tubules. There is golden yellow to red appearance due to the hemorrhage and necrosis. There is direct invasion of the perinephric tissues that is common, and there is lymphatic spread that occurs in the para-aortic nodes. Next, we come to the clinical features. The clinical features of renal adenocarcinoma. The patient can be asymptomatic. So many times the patient can be asymptomatic. The patient that are coming to you with renal adenocarcinoma can be asymptomatic. 60% of the patients with renal adenocarcinoma comes with hematuria. Hematuria, that is blood in the urine. 40% patient come with the loin pain, that is pain in the loins or the back. 25% come with the mass, and 15% comes with a triad of three things. Triad means three things: pain, hematuria, and mass. So clinical features, most common is asymptomatic patient. Symptomatic patients, 60% come with hematuria, 40% come with the loin pain, and 25% with the mass formation. And 15% comes with the triad, that is triad of pain, hematuria, and a mass formation. Pain, hematuria, and mass formation. Fever may be present in many of the cases. Now, what are the investigations? Whenever a patient of renal adenocarcinoma is coming to us, what are the various investigations that could be done? The investigations include raised ESR, that is increased in the ESR, with polycythemia. Polycythemia can be seen, and there are disorders of the coagulation. So coagulative disorders are present. There is raised ESR, polycythemia, and disorders of coagulation are seen. There can be abnormalities of the plasma protein and abnormal liver function test. So we will see raised ESR, there will be polycythemia, disorders of coagulation, with abnormalities of the plasma proteins, abnormal liver function test. The management consists of radial nephrectomy and ipsilateral para-aortic lymph nodes. So in the management of renal adenocarcinoma, there will be radical nephrectomy, that is complete removal of the kidneys, and ipsilateral para-aortic lymph nodes. So not only the kidneys are removed, but also para-aortic lymph nodes are removed. Small tumors are treated by percutaneously. If the tumors are small, then they can be treated percutaneously by radiofrequency ablation. There can be radiofrequency ablation that could be done. Tissue sparing surgery can be done, and cryoablation can be done. So the management is done by radical nephrectomy and ipsilateral para-aortic lymph nodes. Small tumors are treated percutaneously by radiofrequency ablation, tissue sparing surgery, cryoablation. The prognosis is confined to a kidney with 5-year survival is 75%. So if the tumor is confined to the kidney, then the 5-year survival is around 75%. And in case of distant metastasis, it falls to 5%. So if there is metastasis in any of the tumor, if there is metastasis that you will find, then the prognosis falls drastically. So if the tumor is confined to the kidney, then 5-year survival is 75%. And if there is distant metastasis, it falls to 5%. So this was all about the two topics that we have, two types of carcinomas we have discussed today. One is the carcinoma of the prostate, and the second is adenocarcinoma of the kidneys, renal adenocarcinoma. Now it's your homework to write about both these topics today by taking a reference from the e-notes that I have uploaded on the portal and also from your book. So you have to write, define renal adenocarcinoma and write the clinical features, investigation, management according to the Davidson book. This completes your genitourinary system. Next, we will start with a new chapter from the next topic. So this was all for today. I hope you have understood this session properly. This session is powered by Digital Version 2.0, Jyoti Vidyapeeth Women's University. If you have any query in this session, then you can write in the comment box and I'll try to resolve it. So this was all for today. If you have any problem, then you can, or we can also discuss in the problem solving session that is scheduled every Monday from 3 to 4 p.m. So this is all for today. Thank you very much. Have a good day.